The galaxy plunged into turmoil when whispers spread that Oscar-winning actress Natalie Portman had supposedly snatched a priceless Star Wars relic valued in the millions from the set of Attack of the Clones. Fans exploded with fury. How could Queen Amidala herself betray the Jedi Order? Was this a daring act of defiance, or simply a Hollywood prank taken one step too far? Yet as the reality unravels, the actual tale proves to be far more comical and touching than anyone ever expected.
The bizarre heist. Anakin's braid goes missing.
In a jaw-dropping revelation that rippled through the Star Wars fandom, Oscar-winning actress Natalie Portman astonished viewers during a recent guest spot on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert by admitting to a decades-old act of cinematic theft, one so bold, so hilariously absurd, it could only have unfolded behind the curtain of the greatest sci-fi saga ever made. While most top-tier stars might leave a Star Wars set with a lightsaber handle, a blaster replica, or even a shard of stormtrooper armor, Portman's pilfered prize was far stranger. A single, carefully braided Padawan lock, snipped directly from the head of Hayden Christensen's brooding young Anakin Skywalker. The confession ignited the internet in chaos. Had the regal Queen Amidala, the very embodiment of Naboo's elegance and diplomacy, secretly been a prop thief all this time? The truth, as it turned out, was an emphatic yes. With a mischievous, almost guilty grin, Portman revealed to Colbert that she had indeed pocketed one of Anakin's signature braids during the shooting of Attack of the Clones. There were, like, 30 of them because he had to have a fresh one for every take, she explained, her laughter underscoring the pure silliness of the heist. I just took one. And no, I never told George Lucas. But knowing Natalie, fans argue the real scandal wasn't the act of stealing. It was the sheer ridiculousness of it all. In a universe where props regularly fetch millions at auction, where collectors would fight for even a single tuft of Chewbacca's fur, Natalie Portman had chosen a braid. Not a lightsaber, not a fragment of the Millennium Falcon, not even one of Queen Amidala's lavish crowns. Just a simple, faux hair trinket from Anakin's moody Padawan era. And somehow, that choice made the theft all the more legendary. Because if Natalie Portman has proven one thing time and again, it's that she doesn't play by the rules, not even in a galaxy far, far away. The real prize, she suggested, wasn't the braid itself, it was the memories. The laughter between takes, the bond with her castmates, the surreal joy of belonging to something far greater than herself. Because while props can vanish and braids can be lost, the wonder of Star Wars and the playful spirit of those who bring it to life will always remain.
Behind the scenes. A Jedi's love story, and lifelong bonds that defied the galaxy.
While audiences across the globe were mesmerized by the epic lightsaber battles and galaxy-spanning politics of the Star Wars prequels, the true magic unfolded away from the spotlight. In those unscripted flashes of laughter, mischief, and unexpected friendships destined to last a lifetime. For Natalie Portman, stepping into the role of Padmé Amidala wasn't just another acting job. It was a transformative chapter that shaped her both as an artist and as a person, forging bonds tougher than Durasteel and memories more treasured than Kyber crystals. From the instant she first wore Queen Amidala's intricate makeup in The Phantom Menace as a wide-eyed 16-year-old, Portman was catapulted into a universe unlike anything she had ever experienced. The ornate costumes, the dense political dialogue, the immense responsibility of joining cinema's most beloved saga, it could have easily been overwhelming. Yet instead, it became a masterclass in imagination and camaraderie. There was this incredible sense of playfulness beneath all the pressure, Portman remembers. George Lucas built an atmosphere where we could explore, where mistakes weren't failures but discoveries. Her love story on-screen with Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker became the emotional anchor of the prequels, but away from the cameras, their chemistry was far less tragic. The two young stars, both adjusting to the surreal reality of Star Wars fame, formed a friendship that rose above their characters' doomed romance. Hayden and I would constantly make each other laugh during these supposedly serious romantic moments, Portman shares with a grin. There we were, reciting these intense lines of love with a perfectly straight face, and then as soon as the director yelled cut, we were just two kids struggling not to laugh at how absurd some of the dialogue sounded out of context. The humor didn't stop with her scenes alongside Christensen. Ewan McGregor, whose Obi-Wan Kenobi stood as the trilogy's moral center, quickly became another essential partner in keeping spirits high. Ewan had this amazing energy, Portman recalls. He'd do the most ridiculous things to break the tension, suddenly bursting into song during a serious moment, or performing all his Jedi dialogue in random accents. There was one take where he delivered the entire high ground speech as Sean Connery, and I almost ruined the scene because I couldn't stop laughing. Even the physical challenges of the role turned into unexpected sources of laughter. Portman admits her lightsaber training sessions were less elegant Jedi and more awkward human. I was awful at first, she confesses. Hayden and Ewan would be pulling off these smooth, flowing moves, and meanwhile, I was nearly knocking out a camera operator because I kept spinning in the wrong direction. Eventually, the stunt team just started cracking up every time it was my turn. These light-hearted moments became vital counterweights to the heavy scrutiny the prequels faced both during filming and long after their release. We knew the expectations were impossibly high, Portman reflects. But when you're in the middle of it, surrounded by these amazing artists and friends every single day, you don't dwell on legacy or criticism. You focus on telling the best story possible and on savoring the rare privilege of being part of something so much greater than yourself.
The Force lives on. Natalie's unfading Star Wars memories.
The connections forged during those years have proven lasting. Portman still keeps in touch with her Star Wars family, and when she reunited with Christensen for a surprise appearance in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it felt as though no time had passed. That's the magic of shared creative experiences, she reflects. You go through something so singular together that it builds bonds that never disappear. Even now, if I run into Hayden or Ewan, we instantly slip back into that same rhythm of laughter and inside jokes. In hindsight, Portman views her Star Wars journey not just as a career landmark, but as a defining chapter that prepared her for everything to come. Those films taught me how to balance artistic integrity with blockbuster demands, how to hold on to your sense of self amid overwhelming attention, and most importantly, how to keep finding joy in the work no matter what, she says. When people ask whether I'd return for another Star Wars film, my answer is always the same, in a heartbeat. Not just for the story, but for the chance to play in that sandbox with those people again. For Portman, the real legacy of the prequels isn't measured in box office figures or critical reviews, but in those fleeting, perfect in-between moments. The uncontrollable laughter, the shared challenges, the whispered conversations in the makeup trailer at 4 a.m. It lives in the way Christensen would pull silly impressions just to make her break character, or how McGregor would sneak her bits of candy between takes, or the way the whole cast would burst into applause when she finally pulled off a tricky lightsaber sequence. These are the memories that no stretch of time or distance can ever erase. The true treasures she carried from her journey in that galaxy far, far away, worth infinitely more than any prop, even Anakin's stolen braid.
Beyond the galaxy, Portman's fearless career evolution.
After setting aside Amidala's ornate gowns, Portman refused to be boxed in. She threw herself into bold roles, becoming a tormented ballerina in Black Swan, which earned her an Oscar, a grieving First Lady in Jackie, and even a cosmic warrior in Thor, Love and Thunder. Each turn showcased her unmatched versatility, spanning from indie dramas to grand blockbuster spectacles. But Portman is far more than an actress. She's a producer, a director, and a tireless advocate for women in Hollywood. Whether she's adapting Lady in the Lake for Apple TV or pushing for gender equality behind the scenes, she continues to shatter boundaries with the same fearless resolve she once gave to a certain Queen of Naboo. From stealing Anakin's braid to stealing our hearts, Natalie Portman stands as one of the most magnetic talents of our time. She's a Jedi of the silver screen, a queen of reinvention, and an icon who never ceases to surprise us. Whether she's wielding a lightsaber or a Harvard degree, yes, she's that brilliant. Our admiration for her only grows stronger. So here's to Natalie. May the Force, and our endless adoration, always be with her.